Hey everybody, happy Saturday. I wish I could show you the weather outside because we're in a snowstorm. It's April 11th, and it's snowing. We might get a foot of snow. I'm not really sure. That's what it's calling on us. So I hope that your weekend weather is a little nicer than mine. Today I wanted to do a Q&A because I've had some people send in some questions, and I thought this was a useful thing to do for these times. So let me go to here and let's see here. Okay. What are the signals one gets when questioning if it's time to be more introverted? For instance, if one is expected to attend a gathering or to make a hard phone call, yet it seems too draining. So those are kind of two questions. These are great questions. So a signal that it's time to be more introverted might be anxiety, confusion, feeling scattered, feeling like you're not all in one piece, like you're scattered out there, feeling grouchy, grumpy, irritable, jumpy, tired. Often for empaths, just the overall signal, I mean, all of those really are important signals because as a highly sensitive person, you are receiving input and it feels like there's this, megaphone and everything's magnified. And so you get drained more easily, you get tired more easily, it frays your nerves more easily than it would somebody else. And so one of the most helpful things that I have learned, and it has taken me all these years to learn how to take better care of myself, and I can't stress enough how important self-care is to feeling centered, feeling like you're processing your own information instead of the world's information, which is chaotic and it's frazzled and it's frustrated right now. So an introverted person, we recharge our batteries by not being around people. So if you feel drained and you feel like you're all out of energy and all out of steam and all out of juice, that is a signal. Or if you feel grumpy, grouchy, irritable, tired, these are all signals that highly sensitive folks, as well as other folks, but we're talking right now about highly sensitives, will feel. That will tell you, maybe don't make the phone call if it seems like it's going to take a lot of energy or it's got some confrontation behind it or it's difficult and you're going to have to be at your best. Recharge yourself first. So all of the things I just talked about are signs and symptoms that you are too drained and you've got to refill your battery. And introverts refill by being alone. It's pretty well known that extroverts gain energy by being around others, the party people. They like to be around other people. But introverts, no. We need to recharge and refill our batteries by being alone, spending time with our dog or our cat or our couch or our, just staring off into space or taking a nap or whatever it is you need. So give yourself what you need. Now, there was another part to that question. And I often like to ask people, if you're feeling drained or low energy about doing something, do you really want to do it? And what percentage of the things that you force yourself to do because you think you should or you have to? And that's a very broad-ranging question. I mean, we can spend our whole lives or 10 years of our lives doing things that don't bring us energy, don't bring us joy. And that's something to really look at, because I sense beneath that question that we may need to look at patterns that we have adopted over years, where we put ourselves last. Empaths often do that. Caregivers, let me take care of you, and let me put my needs on the back burner for someday. I even wrote a poem named Someday that I'll share sometime. And it's about this procrastination on the self and the needs that you have. So whatever's happened in your patterning, how you were formed up until the age of 7, will often determine how much of your energy is allowed to go to you and recharge your own batteries. And so this is one of these things that sometimes you could use some help from somebody who's trained to work with this. How to give yourself permission to recharge your own batteries, how to have some more balance between what you put on others, the attention you give others, and the importance you give that versus yourself. So again, the emotional body, the physical body, especially the emotional body, always gives us clues and signals in the forms of feelings that we're having. When you're on your last nerve, get to know yourself and know what is your last nerve, and then don't push yourself beyond that. Just like maybe you were warned as a kid, don't push your dad, past his last nerve, or your mom or the teacher. Don't push your own nerve. Be easy on yourself, because your nerves are tender things. If you're a highly sensitive, they're tender things. Okay, let's see if we can do another. How can you live being true to oneself without guilt, with inspiration, with courage to take care of myself? See, she's asking something related to what I just said. No more codependency and having too much empathy. Yeah. And then she says, what's mine? Yes. How can we live our lives taking care of ourselves? And I kind of just talked about that. Often we're facing a lifelong pattern of I'm not enough, I'm not worth the energy and the effort, I don't deserve my own energy going back to me. It's got to go out and take care of others and their fragilities and whatever's going on with them, and I've got to prop up everybody around me. Often that is like literally just a pattern of how you were trained when you were little, because maybe your mom or your dad felt like a lost child themselves and didn't know how to take care of themselves. And so when you came along, they kind of expected you to kind of be part of their support system. Stray hair there. So this is about a constant retraining. Just like we can train ourselves to learn a musical instrument. We can train ourselves in the gym. You can train your emotional patterns into a place where every time you feel guilty because like a sibling isn't doing well, or every time you feel shame because you don't feel like you're enough, question where that comes from. And an easy question that you can ask to deal with things like that is to say, who does that belong to? Is that mine? Is it someone else's? Or is it something else's? What feels the lightest? And one of the things that I work with clients all the time is that we are learning how to appreciate a lightness of being. And so when you begin to ask these questions, you are removing layers of heaviness that you have assumed were yours, but they're just somebody else's energy. Does that make sense? This is a process. It's not like a quick pat answer. There's lots of layers and depth to who we become in life. And we're each doing the very best we can with what we were given. And, amazing courage in that question. Asking to live with inspiration, live with courage. What if you couldn't even ask that question if you didn't possess courage and inspiration? And so sometimes it's just about saying hello, doing a retrospective. We're about to go into Venus retrograde. This is a great time to look at your life and look at everything that you've been through and just congratulate yourself. Even if there were hard times, congratulate yourself for surviving them, because that self-appreciation is it has the kernels of courage and inspiration. So you already possess those qualities. And the other part of that is having the ability in the moment to stop yourself from beating yourself up. Don't be mean to you. Be willing to say, wait a minute, I'm not going to have a harsh thought like that on myself. I love myself the way I was never loved before. I'm willing to do that. And I'm willing to make a new choice and let that person's stuff be theirs and let my stuff be mine. And you'll find that your stuff is a little bit lighter when you take off all the knapsacks belonging to other people. And there are a ton of empaths that are carrying 90% of the stuff that doesn't belong to them out of compassion and because they don't know the difference between somebody else's emotional energy and their own. And that's why you feel heavy and depressed sometimes or freaked out by the world around you. It's not because you are freaked out. It's because you're vibrating and you're feeling that in the world and you're taking that in and saying, oh God, I feel really freaked out. We are psychic beings, and whether you've heard that or not, whether you believe it, if you're an empath, you're starting to believe it. And I know you know this, that you pick up on the emotions of others due to this heightened ability to feel emotional energy. And that's one of your gifts. And you just have to learn how to mold it and work with it a little bit more. Let me see. Let's see if we have time for one more question. Sometimes these go a little too long and I don't want to do that. What do we say to ourselves when we worry we might be being a wimp or not tough? Oh, you're too sensitive. Who's heard that one? What are the gifts of sensitivity? Poetry, art, music, movies, filmmaking, storytelling, counseling, nurturing, the ability to see that somebody needs a hug without them telling you so. Where would the world be without these gifts? I mean, there's plenty of brutality in the world. It's everywhere. And, it's about really valuing what you came here to be. You don't arrive here as a highly sensitive or empathic person without really having developed a lot and gone through a lot to become that compassionate. And most of the world is not at that level. They're just not there. It's a me, grab for me world. So valuing, even though the world is hard on sensitive people, because it's hard to live here in a body, it's just tough. You need to have some faith that you were born for a reason and that you're wired the way you are, and that's a great thing. So that's all the time we have. I don't want to go too long, so I'm going to say just reach out to me at the links below if you need some personal attention. I wish you well. I hope you're having good weather where you are and that you're being good to yourself this weekend. Thank you for watching, and just leave any comments you have below. I'd love to hear from you. Bye.